Welcome back to All That Jam, where music has no limits. We are joined today by Sam Cochran, a fellow Baltimorean, and we're here to talk a little bit about his how he approaches music and his band Seven Teller. How are we doing today, Sam?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Fantastic. It
Thanks for
keeps
having me.
pretending like it wants to rain, I think. We'll see.
Yeah, I
And
hope it doesn't.
and I don't know if you heard Bill Walton passed away today, who was the probably the tallest
Oh.
deadhead ever.
Well, how'd he pass away? That's terrible.
Cancer. He kept it quiet. Yeah, the big C
Uh,
got him. Sad.
yeah.
Anyway, let's not dwell on that. Shout out to him though. We love Bill. He seemed to be the kindest person ever. But why
Yeah,
don't
shout out
you
Bill.
yeah, why don't you give us a little bit about your origin story, how Seven Teller came about, and let us know who's in the band.
Sure. Hopefully I won't ramble too much, but I mean, I've been playing music since I was a kid. I've been writing music forever. I think that it's always been a part of me. And I went down a sort of dark path in my early adulthood, and I'm 26 now. But I went down sort of a dark path, and I stopped playing music. And then when I got out of that sort of that dark place, I found music again. I think I read a pivotal moment was when I read Bob Dylan's memoir Chronicles, actually, and I got really inspired and started writing music again. And um, I was at a really low point in my life and I had to start everything all over. But that was about over 6 years ago, and since then I've just been slowly building it up. And I originally just had a stage name that was just Sam Teller, and then I started playing with some friends of mine, and we put out some music. We recorded music, and I wanted to make it a band name. And so now it's Seven Teller. It's been Seven Teller for a long time. All of our like touring history and stuff has always been Seven Teller. And all the albums that have come out have been Seven Teller, but it's basically an amalgamation of different people in the Baltimore scene, people that I know, my creative vision, and how that sort of manifested with different players and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. No, I'm hearing some indie in there. Of course, you have the jam thing going on. What are some of your people that you look up to that you found inspiration in other musicians?
Ooh. Um, I mean, man, I've been listening to like jam music for a long time. I think I've always been uh I've also always really been into songwriting. It hasn't always been about like technical prowess. I didn't get into like learning like any crazy music theory or anything like that until um about 5 or 6 years ago when I started up again. But when I was a kid in middle school and high school, and I was listening to music and I was writing music, then all it mattered was like just three chords and the truth, like, and I just loved writing songs. And I used to um I used to like sit on my mom's computer with like GarageBand and just record stuff into the computer microphone. It sounded
Mm.
terrible, but it was my outlet. And so I guess like I'm really into good songwriters. Like one of the vinyl records that I first listened to was American Beauty, because I had my dad's old vinyl collection, and I listened to that. And like I already mentioned Bob Dylan. And when I got when I started over again, about 6 years ago, I at that point I was an adult and I started going out to see a lot of shows. And then, I mean, I saw Fish, and Fish totally changed my life. And just like all the live music out there that I got to go see, all the shows at the 8x10. I don't know if you go to the 8x10, but
The first time I
the,
saw Fish was at the 8x10.
oh, that's crazy, dude. I knew they played there. You got to play, you saw them there. Damn.
Yeah, but a buddy of mine was like, "You want to go see this Allman Brothers cover band tonight?" We went down there and it was Fish. I don't know where he got they were an Allman Brothers cover band, but yeah, I had never even heard of them before that. That was back in '89 before they'd really. I think it was the first time they played below the Mason Dixon line. Actually,
Wow, that's crazy. So if you're listening and you don't know, I mean, that's like the 8x10 is just like the such a Baltimore institution. But back then, was it one single row home? Was it
no,
smaller?
it was still 8 and 10, but there was the wall was still in between the two. The stage was in the corner, the right
Yeah,
hand corner, all the way in the back, and there was a bar, and the upstairs had a bar and a little lounge area, but the wall was still there, separating the two townhomes.
that's so funny, man. Yeah, I can't even imagine it like that because I've only, been there in the past few
It
years,
was
really.
dirty and nasty, and it was just like there'd be like slime on the bottom of your beer bottle when they served it.
Dude,
It was just
that's
wrong.
wild.
Yeah, we love the 8x10. Abigail is just the kindest person, and I'm so glad that she is the custodian of it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, she'd be a great guest on here.
Yeah,
Um,
I should reach out to her. She every time I try to talk to her when I'm there, she's got 9 other things going on. She's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And
yeah.
she's the
No,
best.
they're
She's
the
the best.
they're the best, man, and Brian's a total sweetheart too. He wouldn't let you know it, but he's a total sweetheart, and I love those. I love them both, and
Yeah,
so
you you
yeah. I
you
mean,
guys had a
I
residency, right? You guys did a residency there, didn't you, recently?
yeah, we just did residency. We did every other Sunday throughout the spring, and it was fun. It was challenging at different times because Sundays were just kind of hard, but it was a really cool theme. I don't know if you read into it. It was like we basically had our friend dressed up, our different friends each night dress up as like a jester or a joker, and then they had a deck of cards, and each card had an instruction for the jam on it. So we would go into a jam, and then um, when the energy kind of died down, they would come out and like let the audience member pick a card. So then the card would say like,
Nice,
double time or something crazy. And
nice. I
yeah, it was
love
fun, man.
that.
It was a lot of hard work, and I tried not to be too jaded, man. It was a lot of fun, dude. I do miss it already.
Right. Those residencies are a great stepping stone. I can remember the Bridge back in 2003
Yeah.
or 4 played there all summer every Wednesday. And by the end of the
Mm.
summer, that place got packed.
Yeah, I hear legends about stuff like that all the time. It's weird. I don't know if like because there's not really any other bands doing it. I think we were the first people to do it since COVID, and the whole music industry has just changed so much, especially for small venues like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I see so many bands, canceling tours. Black Keys had to cancel their whole arena tour because they didn't sell any tickets.
Are you serious? I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the other day they canceled it. Then the next day they released a statement saying that they were rethinking it because they wanted a more intimate thing for their fans. Basically, they trying to save face after the.
Oh man, dude.
And I hear J Lo is having issues on her tour. Nobody wants to go see J Lo for $250. Get
Well,
bigger.
surprise. Yeah, I don't want to see JLo for two. I shouldn't say that. I
I
would.
would
I would.
go if someone said, "Here's a ticket to J Lo." I would be
Yeah.
right there in the front seat, in the
If I
front
had
row.
the money, I would go.
All right,
I love doing that. I love seeing like some like random different totally different genre I love doing that, but I don't know if I could pay $250 for it.
Right. Yeah, I went and saw Soccer Mommy a couple years back, and She has a song "Circle the Drain" that's really cool, and she played her hour. Boom, she was out of there. There were 3 other bands. I got to see 3 bands I never heard of. It was cool.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Hell yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
let's steer back to. We were talking a little bit. You were saying you love the singer songwriting. You want to walk us through your process as a songwriter, and has it changed since you said there was a 6 year gap? Do you find that it changed when you picked it back up?
Yeah, so it was more like a 3-year gap where I like stopped really into music, and then for the past 6 years I've
Okay,
really been
that's the 6th.
trying, and like I guess like to it's evolved, but my process for writing a song is really, I mean, sometimes it's like you hear a song that you really like and you're like, "Oh, I want a song that does the same, it achieves the same goal." So like I hear a song that makes people dance and I'm like, "Oh, I want to make a song that's like going to make people bob their head and dance, and this song does it this particular way. So maybe I could do it kind of like that." So, you end up writing a song that's like um sort of like directly linked to another song or something like that. And that's there's that I mean that's like all of music, right? It's just like
Mm,
making somebody else's stuff your own stuff.
mm,
Every now and then, though, I mean, I think like the best songs and the songs that I feel most proud of are the songs that happen really slowly over a period of time with like a simple riff or something. Like I could be like improvising. I write on an acoustic guitar. I learned on an acoustic guitar. I always write on an acoustic. So if I'm in writing mode, which I'm not, I don't like, I don't have like a habit or anything either. I don't like
mm.
routinely try to write songs every day or something. I really just try to tune in to inspiration when I have it. And so like say if I'm feeling inspired, I'll like pick up my guitar and sort of improvise and just sort of stream of consciousness, try to like shout the melody or strum chords or whatever. And every now and then when that happens, like something really clicks, and I just have, I've just gotten an intuition now. So when I feel that thing clicking, I know that I just have to stop whatever else I've got going on during the day and just sit and like let this thing flesh itself out. It's like this idea will come and it will go, and I really got to like respect it while it's there. It feels like, and I mean, so many a song that's coming up on the title track to our new album, Jester's like that. Jester is like more of a ballad, but I mean, I remember like having the riff for that and then coming up with a melody, and it was just total stream of consciousness. And when it's funny because when somebody listens to that, I think my drummer said, "Oh, it's like a very like Grateful Dead, the band type of song." But when I was writing it, I wasn't thinking about that at all. It's just like it wasn't like I was like listening to somebody else's song and
Right,
regurgitating it. And but to hear that though was like a huge compliment because like I love that music. So
right.
the way it happened though is like it starts out with an idea, and I really like in the moment it's like I gotta stop what I'm doing, um, sit down, like write some lyrics down. But then when I start to feel uninspired, like maybe an hour later or something, I don't fight it. I just let it go. I put it away and forget about it, and then I just wait until I feel inspired again. And then
There you go.
maybe another riff or something, I can glue the two together. And oftentimes I think it's like the grander concept I have about songwriting is that it's like getting pregnant. It's like you get an idea, and then over I feel like a good song it actually takes about 9 months or something like that. And over time, you slowly get the lyrics together and all that, and play it live, and then at a certain point, it feels complete. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you have the baby. Let's take this further. And once you have the baby, you throw it out in the world to get beat up by everybody.
Yeah, and then it grows even more because then we start playing it live, and
Yep.
then all the other members are adding their spin on
Parts.
it, and it's really cool, man. And then by the time you record it, it's you know it's an adult, I guess, or it's
Right.
a
And
study.
it might be completely different than that first hour where you were feeling inspired, huh?
Totally, totally. It could go a totally different direction. Sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's annoying.
Right. Your
Yeah.
vision there. So let me ask you, do you feel like your lyrics have a point of view, or do you tailor the lyrics to whatever the idea of the song is demanding?
Um, Normally when I'm writing lyrics, I'm thinking more about energy and like the vibe, like the energy that the song has and the rhythm, and um, it's less about. I would like to start writing lyrics that are, I guess, more vulnerable and more like directly about like my own life, but typically I don't do that. Typically, it's more, um, I guess you could say, inconspicuous or like uh maybe they touch on like some like broader concepts in life rather than like a very personal part of my life or something.
Right,
But I would
right.
like to do that. I would like to do that more. But I really like lyrics. Like I love David Byrne lyrics. I love Bob Dylan lyrics. I love like random stuff, random imagery and stuff like that. And what is like I like making people think like what does that even mean,
Right.
and I like it when people think that and then they like can find their own meaning in it somehow, because at the end of the
Right.
day it's like whatever I try to, if I wrote something that was like super personal, that's great, but everybody's going to interpret it their own way still.
Right. I
you
used to
know
run the poetry workshops when I was in college back
Hmm.
in the other millennium. And I would always tell people nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. So don't get frustrated when you give someone a poem and they don't get your meaning. As long as they get something out of it, you've done your job.
That's interesting. I agree with that. It could be, and I like that it's like they could get anything out of it. Even, sometimes if art is repulsive, it's still art. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It,
I've always said that Zappa and what's his name? Larry Flint from Hustler did more for the First Amendment with being outrageous and presenting these, revolting bodies, I guess, for lack of a better term, to the world
yeah,
than all the protest in the world will ever do.
yeah. I was at the 8x10 the other night, man. There's a Zappa tribute. A bunch of my friends were there. I don't know if you saw that, but it was really good. Or if you
Nice,
heard about it.
nice. Yeah,
You don't
we
see a
I
Zappa tribute every that often, man.
no, you don't. There's a guy Marcus Rezak who does one, and he has
Yeah,
he'll get Ray White to come out with him though, so he's really a Zappa tribute act, I guess. With that. Ike Willis
yeah.
used to always play the 8x10 20 years ago, and I guess Zappa came after him, the estate, and was like, "You can't play those songs."
Who played
Dude, he
there?
was Joe's Garage. I mean, come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
That
he's the voice of that stuff.
that's
Anyway,
crazy.
yeah, that is crazy. So you have sort of three albums out. There's two that people can find. There's one that people can find any. You have sort of two albums out. One people can find anywhere. 2022's Seven. Your debut people will find on Bandcamp, and you're going to have a new one coming up. But let's do the 2022 one. You want to talk a little bit about? I'm assuming that came out of COVID. You, like everyone else, were locked down for a while.
Well, actually, the I guess you could say that both of them came out of COVID. The first two, what happened, man, is that I, I was probably like, it's been like 6 years since I've been really trying to do it, I guess. But around that 2 year mark, COVID happened, and it was like March of 2020, thick of it, lockdowns. And I went to go live with my cousin in Floyd, Virginia, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and just like get away because like everything was getting locked out. And I was like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here, man. So I went down there and, um, uh, anyways, like, I like came to a decision while I was there after a lot of like self reflection that I was gonna like really go into music and I was gonna record. So then that was how the first album came out. And the other factor that really pushed me to do it was that I had a bunch of like unemployment money from the government. Like I had all this money laying around. I was like, man, like what am I gonna do with this? Am I gonna put forward for my retirement or am I gonna make some music? I'm
Right.
gonna spend it all on music. And uh so that's how the first one came out, and then the second one was kind of similar. I think I like had some extra money and wanted to do it, and I think that actually happened. There's a few songs on there that were a result of at least one song on there, "Are You a Metaphor," is a result of one Christmas. For Christmas presents, I decided I was going to try to write all my family members a song or write a song about them. And "Are You a Metaphor" is a song for as my niece and nephew in the lyrics. Um, but I think I just want when I wrote that, like I wanted to write something that sounded better, like um like recording wise, and I also wanted to write something that was a little bit more funky and maybe a little bit more dark, like psychedelic. Um, and I think I really accomplished that. It was the way we recorded it was we did live. Our keyboard player wasn't there, but we did live drums, bass, and guitar for all the tunes to a click. So like the single off of that record was Mister, and that ended up being like 6 minutes. And I mean, it's great, man. It's like really psychedelic. Like the jam is really like it peaks. It's really good. I like it a lot. And the same thing with Jack Rabbit is like that. It's there's a really nice jam on there. Oh, and the other song on that record that was about my other nephews called Jacob's Dreams, which is like a ballad. Um, so yeah, and I love that record. We don't play all the songs on that anymore, but I love that record a lot.
Is there a reason that you don't play them? Just that you have more songs now, so something has to get cut?
Yeah, I mean, we still will play them. When we did the residency, we didn't do. I mean, we did 5 nights with no repeats, so we played like
You had to play
we
everything, right?
yeah, we played everything. But um, yeah, I think that some of them like the hard part about writing like more like songwriting type songs is if they're like ballads, which I love ballads, but in a live setting, if you have too many ballads, it's people don't have the attention span. And
Max
I get
1% as a cool down song. Max 1%.
yeah, yeah, and I get it, like I don't really want to see that. I mean, it depends on the band too, but um so anyways, like a lot of the songs on there can get not a lot, but some of the songs can get kind of ballady. A lot of the songs on the first album are kind of ballady, and so
So what
we
about the
don't.
new one? Are we ballady on the new one, or are we taking it in a new direction?
Well, seven was really. I mean, there's only really one song there that's like a really big ballad that we don't play anymore. But on the new one, the title track is kind of a ballad, but it's a really good. I'm really proud of that songwriting. Everything else is um pretty upbeat, pretty funky.
Right.
I'm trying to go in a direction. I mean, we talked a little about it a little bit before we went live, but I'm trying to go into like, I mean, we're coming out with this album, but I'm already trying to go into like a different creative direction that this album is sort of heading in, which is
Mm.
much more just straight dance music with a band and less guitar shreddiness and more just heavy rhythm and ambience layered on top of the rhythm. And this this album's definitely headed in that direction. The single that just came out, Canopy, is very much in that direction. And so yeah, I mean that song is like super high energy. I don't think that's like the title track is a really good ballad, but all the other ones are pretty upbeat and funky.
Right. Where are we recording, or is it in your house, or are you using a studio in town?
So we actually, the first two albums I recorded at Sheffield, and Sheffield is like, it's got like, I mean, it's an old building, man, like state of the art stuff. And my buddy went to school there, so I got like a discount to use all this state of the art stuff. But I don't know anything about recording and it's kind of new to it all. So I feel like I didn't really make good use of that. And this time we recorded in somebody's basement. Blake Ruby, he's more of like a pop singer, indie guy, but he's also an amazing recording engineer, and he works with people like in LA and Nashville and stuff like that remotely. I think he's moving to Nashville very soon, and he just knew his stuff, man. I think that's what it came. That's why I'm really excited about this record. Like, it just sounds better than the other ones. It didn't matter if we were recording in his basement or if we had a state-of-the-art studio. Like, he just knew how to make the drums sound really good. Like, I really wanted to get this like Remain in Light drum sound, you know what I mean, that album. And he nailed it, but he made it fatter. It's really good, man. So yeah, we recorded like 90% of everything there. I did a few overdubs in Brandon's basement. Brandon's a keyboard player, so we just plugged it into my laptop, and then I had to do some more overdubbing at Ben Kolakowski's house. And the Dirty Grass Players.
I have heard of them. Yes.
Yeah, he's their guitar player, Baltimore guy, and he's got a little basement studio. So I recorded like some guitar. I recorded like lead guitar there. I recorded some mandolin there, and yeah.
Nice. Now, are all the songs on the album road tested, or did you record anything that you haven't played live yet?
They're all road tested. All road tested. One of them is very new. In like December, we did this. We did a whole weekend together. The band did, where we just like set up and improvised and stream of conscious sort of, tried to like write songs off the cuff. And one of the best moments from that whole weekend is the song "The Chariot." And so we like, when we were like jamming at our space, I just got into this cool groove, and I sort of like came up with a melody for the chorus, and everybody chimed in together. And then I think like, within like a few weeks, I like sat down and like wrote lyrics to it, and then we recorded in February. So I think we played it a handful of times, but that one was kind of, I was surprised we were able to make it work, but we did, and it sounds great. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes these jam sessions, one of my favorite Fish songs is "What's the Use," and that came out of them just having a jam session in the studio. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that, without
Yeah,
the
man,
audience,
dude.
without the expectations of an audience watching you. You can. I'm assuming that it makes it freer. It's freeing.
Yeah, like there's more freedom to like, particularly like lyrically and with your voice. Like we can come up with a cool groove. And what happened with the Chariot is I'm like we've got this sick groove going, and then I just start singing over it, and I'm just babbling random stuff. I can't do that live,
Right.
but
Just to get the
by
prosody and the rhythm, right? Just to get the prosody, the rhythm of the line or whatever it is.
yeah, and by doing that, like you have all the energy you need for the song there, and so then post I can just go like fill in like some lyrics, come up with some concept, and there's the song, man.
Right.
Um,
I've always been in the school of thought that songwriting is different than poetry, because when you're listening to a song, all you know is the line that's being sung. Really, you might remember the one before, know what the next one is, but in that moment, all you're hearing is. So, if songwriting always feels like to me is you got to find the good lines, as
yeah,
opposed to something on a page that people can go back and spend an hour if they want with a one-page poem. So
you got to
anyway, there's
find like
another
the
left turn.
yeah. I mean, it's you got to find like the good like. That's why I love Bob Dylan or David Byrne. Is like,
Robert Hunter. Robert Hunter was a
dude,
master of that. Thank you for a real good time and Loose Lucy. If that's all you remember, everybody sings it, you know?
yeah, yeah. Like whatever like the imagery or like the like with that, it's like this like literal thing, or like in ACDC bag, let's get on with the show. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
and you're
it's so
there.
clever. Yeah, yeah. And it's like when everybody hears that in the show, even if you don't know the song, it's like, oh, like I'm
Right,
here and
right,
we're gonna get on with the show. And
right. ACDC bag is so brilliant lyrically because it's every line is a cliche pretty much.
yeah.
You know, brain dead, made of money, you know, no future at all. I mean, it's like every little phrase is some kind of
Yeah.
cliche. All right,
Last
let's
night,
turn.
oh
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'll just share this, but last night, I every Memorial Day Sunday and Labor Day Sunday, I'll do like a tribute show at the Cat's Eye. And the Cat's Eye is like this like tiny little bar in Fells Point, but we'll just like
Mhm.
pack it out, and always just a fun time. I don't have to worry about selling tickets or anything. So um
Right.
and anyways, we did 80s tribute last night. So we did ACDC Back into Black into ACDC Bag. It was fun. It was nerdy, but it was
Right.
fun.
Nice. Cat's Eye is a cool little club.
Yeah, man. I love that place.
I don't know if it's even a club, huh? It's more a bar. Basically, if you've never been there, if close your eyes, everybody, and imagine this: there's a bar against one wall, the band's on the other wall, and there's a walkway where everybody tries to stand in between the bar and the band.
Yeah, man. That place is like I can just go in there and like there's no pressure. Like I can just go in there and just rip and let totally loose, man. That place feels like my living room. I love that place. You
Right. Well, I
know?
used to go see the Hula Monsters there.
Mm.
They are
I've
a
never
Hawaiian. I don't know what you call them. They play sort of Hawaiian music.
Cool. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, they're fun. They've been around forever. I mean, they might not be playing anymore, but they played forever. They were playing around. All right, so let's switch from the lyrics to the music. How do you approach improvisation?
Well, it's changing all the time, man. I you know, you know, back to like me talking about trying to go into a different creative sort of direction, but I mean, I love the live performance. It's like a religious thing, the improvisation in a live show. I treat it probably like over, I probably take it too seriously sometimes, but it's like a religious experience for me. It's totally spiritual. And there's nothing as a listener too, like there's nothing I know as a listener, there's nothing cooler than just like being in the present moment when the band's improvising and knowing that like whatever cool creative thing is happening right now is happening right now. It's not going to happen ever again. And I'm here. I'm supposed to be hearing it right now. Like I'm meant to be here listening to this and be in that moment. And that's, I mean, that's why I love, improvisational music so much, whether it's rock music or whatever, jazz or whatever else. And so applying that to, our show, we, you know, we try to do that as much as we can. We try to really push the boundaries as far as what we're comfortable with, and try to get outside of ourselves and communicate. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's just communicating with different band members sonically, and
Mhm.
trying to pick up on a motif, or trying to pick up on some chord changes, and um, really get out there. And it's not a win every time. It's pretty hard to like go up there and um like do all the mental gymnastics that group improvisation takes,
Mhm.
because you don't want to go up there and have it just be like a bunch of one person playing, or
You don't wanna be
or
type 1 the whole time.
yeah, yeah, you don't want to be type 1 the whole time, and you don't want to lose energy either in the crowd. And for a band like us, where we're, for the most part, we're playing, we get to play in front of good audiences, but a lot of them haven't heard us before, barely know anything about us, and they don't know our songs. So
Mhm.
in order to win them over, improvisation is a great way to do that. But it's a double-edged sword, because if you're not, if the improv is waning, or if the energy, like if you can't keep people's attention spans, you can lose them. So it's kind of tit for tat. And but it's a huge part of our show. It's always going to be a huge part of whatever I do. Everything, I'm very spontaneous on stage. I call audibles, and I we don't really have like a set list. I mean, we have a set list, but it's never really in order. Maybe the first couple songs are in order, but then it's just a list of songs that we can kind of pick from,
Right.
and that's how we do it. And um the direction that I'm going in now, though, is, like I said, like heavy rhythm, heavy bass and drums, and a lot of ambiance, and um sort of texture on top of that. And like, I think that I've gotten to a point where, like, my the biggest goal that I have is just to make people move and make people dance. I feel like there's something about, like, rhythm is inside everybody, and it's not like you can go out there and do something really artistic, and somebody can say, well, I just don't get it, but
Mhm.
if you go out there and you do something that makes people dance, you can't, like, no, you can't really fight that. It's like, if you know how to make a good cheeseburger, it's a good cheeseburger, like, it's as simple as, it's that simple. And we played in Bridgeport, Connecticut in April, and our new single Canopy, we played that at that show, and we just put the video out on YouTube of the performance. But it's the jam was like, it went in a totally different direction than we've gone before, where it was like heavy rhythm and all this texture and stuff on top, and it didn't sound like, it sounded unique and a little bit more original, which is what I've been trying to find, that sort of improvisational voice for the band, and the vision for that. And that's where I'm sort of going now. And it's a really good jam. I recommend anybody's listening to go check it out, because it's like, it's only like, the song's like 5 minutes and the jam's like 10 minutes,
Right.
but it just hits so hard. And I love seeing it when a band jams, and it's like, oh, they played a 25-minute jam last night, and I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. And then, but in my experience now, having performed a lot, it's like, sometimes the 25-minute jams,
Should be
they
10.
yeah, Yeah, and so like this is the direction I'm going in now. Or like listen to a band like Panic. It's like they don't ever jam for too long. You
Right.
know, like they jam, but they don't jam for too long, and they play it like pretty safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think I've
No.
tried to. I think that I've tried to like. I think I've over idea like. What's the word? I love Fish. I love Fish so
Mm.
much, but Fish is an anomaly,
Right.
and you know it's how they do what they do. I don't know, but they're definitely. I
Well,
mean, they're
40 years. You get the same guys playing in the same room for 40 years together. You're going to have telepathy.
yeah, and there's that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Right. Now, do you record every night?
Most nights. The only thing that we get held up on is technical snafus.
Mm-hmm.
But
Gremlins. The
we
gremlins in the system.
but we yeah, we got GoPros set up, and this past winter I just like bought this whole rack system so I can multi-track every show. So we've been doing a lot of that this year. A lot of the spring tour shows are on Bandcamp and YouTube and stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you're going back, you record it, you go back, you listen to it a couple days later, maybe a couple weeks later. Is there a disconnect? Do you ever walk off stage and be like, "Man, we crapped the bed tonight," and then you listen to it later and you're like, "Wow, I had no idea that happened."
Dude, that happens a lot actually. That's so funny you said that. Sometimes I walk off and I'm like, "Oh man, like that was it." And typically like when I walk off and I'm like and I feel like that, it is like one of the better jams, but a lot of the times when I walk off and I'm feeling shitty and I listen to it a few weeks later, I'm like, "Oh, like this isn't really shitty. Like it's actually like pretty dope." It's not always my favorite, but you know, we always like we always put on a good show, like no matter what. Even if like I think that like we sucked at this part or whatever, we typically always put on a really good show.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, speaking of shows, we're coming up to almost 45 minutes here. Where are we going to find you coming up the next couple months this summer?
So if you're in the DMV, our album release is on July 12th, or sorry, June 12th. So it's a couple weeks away. And the album release party, Jester is the name of the album. The album release party is at Pearl Street Warehouse on Friday, June 14th. And we're really trying to pack that show out. We also, the 2 days before that, we're going to be in Raleigh and Richmond. So it's like Raleigh, Richmond, DC that week. And then after that, we're going to the Get Down, which is Cabinets Festival in
Mhm.
Blaine, PA. That's the next weekend. And then from June 27th through July 6th, we're going out for a week. We're going to Pittsburgh, Chicago, Milwaukee.
Ooh, pushing the boundaries there, huh?
Yeah, we've never gone that far out west. We've gone to Pittsburgh a bunch. I love Pittsburgh, but we've never gone to Chicago. We're going to Denver. We're going to Fort Collins. We're going to Omaha, Wichita. What else? Cincinnati and
Ooh,
Nashville. And
nice.
then in August, I think we got we're going back to Philly, going back to New York in August. There's another festival called Garefest in August, which is really great. And then we're going back down to Raleigh in September. And at the end of September, we didn't announce it yet, but on September 28th, we're going to have Tellerfest in Patterson Park in Baltimore, which
Oh,
is,
nice.
that's
Nice.
sort of our day festival. We did it 2 years ago. And this year, we're moving to Patterson Park, and we're going to have a bunch of our friends play, and that'll be a great time. Yeah.
I saw BB King play with the Radiators and Taj Mahal. I believe we're all on the bill at Patterson Park back in 96, 97, something like that.
Wow. By the pagoda?
Fantastic. Yeah. It was I know they built the stage at the larger part of the park. They built the stage there. I mean, it was House of Blues. It was the House of Blues tour. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty fantastic. Pearl Street, if anybody who isn't in the DMV and can't get there for your album release, I'm assuming that Pearl Street will be streaming it like they always stream their stuff on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, they definitely
So
will be streaming
anybody
it.
who can't be there, you're going to be checking it out. But if you are in the area, you got to get yourself down there.
Yeah, man, that'll be a great show. And and just like about like creative vision and stuff too, and like improv and all these shows this summer. We're gonna be like adding a bunch of different stuff to the mix too. We're bringing in our friend Rachel May to sing on a lot of these shows, and we're also like adding like some new instruments and stuff. So it'll be really exciting.
Nice.
I'm looking
We'll
forward
keep
to
our
it.
eye out. Yeah, and we're gonna stay in touch. We like to, once we meet someone, we love to catch up with them every year or so. So I will be bothering you again in the future. Thank you so much for your time and coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I had a blast.
All right, and just hang out for a sec. Everybody watching, please like, subscribe, and remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long. We'll see you next time.